Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Chris Sost, and I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Gig Economy Lounge. Today's topic is a special one. It came directly from the Facebook groups of Uber and Lyft drivers all across this country. And that topic is simple. Should you or should you not, if you are able to, physically able to, assist passengers with luggage or groceries? That is the question, folks. And I want to preface that anything that comes out of my mouth is pure opinion. It is my opinion. And I am not calling anybody directly anything less than a decent human being. With that out of the way, let's get into the topic. I personally believe that I, as a driver, should help with luggage and groceries. Now, this comes from an extensive upbringing in manners. The reason why I say that is because we're not paid to pick up people's luggage. We're not paid to assist people with their luggage or their groceries. That's not what you're paid to do. However, you're not paid to hold open the door. You don't get anything in return for when you're walking into a store and you see somebody walking up behind you and you hold the door for them. You just do it because you're a decent human being, because you have the physical capacity to do so, and you do not want to be a shitty human being to the next person behind you. That's why we do it. We don't get anything for it. It's not like every single time we hold open the door, we get a tip or we get even a thank you. Something as simple as a thank you. That is another topic for a totally different channel. But some people don't even acknowledge what you did as a decent human being. Back to luggage. So, as a decent human being, and I am physically capable of helping people with luggage or groceries, anytime I go to pick somebody up and they have luggage, I get out of the car and I grab the luggage. Now, I'll tell you this much right now. I drive a nice black Acura, so I'm not going to claim all the credit here. My biggest concern is people's lack of respect for other people's property. So what I'm really doing it for, especially the heavy luggage, is I'm protecting my vehicle. So I much rather load things so that I know my car isn't getting scratched, that I know people aren't just dropping heavy things in my trunk and potentially breaking pieces of my trunk. Like, I care about my vehicle in general. I wash it by hand. I wash it multiple times a week. I keep it looking, great, not because it's a part of the job, not because I want people to ooh and ah when I go pick them up. I just genuinely want my car to look good all the time. So there are going to be folks that listen to this and they're going to say, well, I can't because I had back surgery, or I can't because of this, or I can't because of that. Like, if you have physical limitations, totally get it. You would if you could. It's the kind of situation to where you would if you could. Like, if you knew you could get out of the car and pick up the bag really quickly and put it in the trunk, shut the trunk and jump in the car without any kind of potential for, catastrophic injuries, you would do it. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. Do I find something wrong with people that can pick up and then they don't? Honestly, it's not on me, right? So it's not like I am being judged for being able to pick something up and just choosing not to, especially under the disguise of I don't get paid for it. It's not a part of my job. Like, there's things that human beings do every single day that's not a part of your fucking job. It's just a part of being a decent human being. Like I said, I was raised, when you're walking into a store and somebody's walking up behind you, male or female, and they're walking in close, or you're walking in and somebody's walking out, it's just common decency to hold the door open for that person. It just is. I don't know why. I didn't make up these rules. I just follow them. And I can tell you this much, like my actual job, has me out and about and interacting with tons of people. Rideshare drivers are not the only ones rejecting what I would call decent behaviors, decent human behaviors. I see it every day. I see people walk through the very door that I hold and not even acknowledge my existence. It is what it is. And guess what? Those same exact people are not going to acknowledge what you do when you pick up luggage or you help with the groceries. They're not going to acknowledge it. But that's not on you. That doesn't mean that you, as a decent human being, are affected by their lack of awareness in the world and probably just in life in general. So, do I go as far as to open up the doors and hold the doors open for people? Not really. If it's an elderly couple, I'll grab the luggage, and if they haven't, started to get in the car, I'll make sure that it's very easy for the eldest Mrs. Jones or Mr. Jones to shut the door. I wouldn't want, them to hurt themselves. So yes, just some instinct takes over, and in certain situations I go, far and above. Why? Not for a tip. I mean, don't get me wrong, I get a lot of them. But it's like I said, it's the way I look at other people is I look at them as if, not that if they were actually my family members, but I just view every single person like if this were my mom, or if this was my brother, or if this was my sister, or if this was my grandparents, how would I treat them, right? And then what goes on top of that is, what if this were me, right? I fly all over the country. I've flown for many years, and I can tell you this much. After wrangling through an airport, or being on a business trip for 5 days, it's nice. And yes, I tip the shit out of people that go above and beyond. But it is very, very nice to be leaving from a business trip or coming home on a flight and taking an Uber home, and the person just jumps out of the car and grabs the bag from your hands, and all you got to do is get in the car, decompress on your way home. It's a beautiful thing. And like I said, I am the type of person that tips very generously. I am also the type of person that tips pretty much any human being that does a service for me. So yes, I tip my mechanic. I do. Whoever did the actual oil change on my car, I tip them. God bless you. You saved me time. Yes, I paid the company whatever that cost. And the company paid you whatever you thought you were worth for that amount of time. I'm just going to show a little bit of gratitude above and beyond. Restaurants. I think of this topic, right? And I think of all the arguments for not, right? It's not a part of my job. There are a lot of things that are not a part of the job of service workers where they do it anyways without expectation, right? So here's something that I find very unique that actually affects tipping quite a lot. So if you're sitting inside of a restaurant and your cup never gets below 25% full, and the server's just constantly refilling it. They didn't have to. They could have waited, for it to go all the way to zero, and then they could have make you wait even longer. They could. It's not their job to keep your cup, completely full, or half full, or 3/4 full. It's not their job to do that. It's just essentially their job is to refill the drink at some point. And I'm telling you, not even all of them do that. But I can tell you that the best servers out there who make the most money in terms of tips are far superior in their customer service choices, if you will, the choices that they make, than others. Customer service fields is the most, I see it as the greatest identifying field for anybody out there in terms of you know what? I'm going to say human decency. Like I said, that person that makes sure your cup never goes below 50%, right? They don't have to, and they might not even be doing it for the tip. They just do it because that's how they would like to be served, right? So people that bring out food right away, trust me, servers have the ability to sit on food in a hot window for almost as long as they wish. And you can tell when that happens. But the best servers, the ones that don't let your drinks get below half full or half empty, they make sure that food comes out damn near the moment that the kitchen is done with it. And the way you will notice this is when they bring the plate out, and when they can set the plate down and the plate rim is not hot, but the food is. That is how you know you have somebody that's ultra attentive, and by the way, you have a table's worth of food that was actually able to come out at the same time. Once again, it just boils down to doing the right thing. You don't have to, right? Like, you don't have to be a decent human being. You don't have to be good at customer service if you choose not to, right? Like, it's not my job. I hear it all the time. It's not my job. My job is from point A to point B. If that's what you think, then any job where customer service, direct face-to-face customer service is required, you probably should not apply to be in that position. Like, people that don't want to do these things because they claim it's not a part of your job, it's cool. Like, don't. Whatever. You know, my advice would be to find an employment opportunity where you're not tasked with direct face-to-face customer service, because you might not be cut out for it. There's a lot of things I'm not cut out for, right? Like, I'm 5'10". I'm a white dude. Like, I'm not going to go play in the NBA, right? Like, I recognize that I don't have the skills nor the physical attributes to do it. Cool. Like, I have to accept that, and I have to play towards my strengths. And that's what I think everybody should do. Especially in the gig economy, this is where your skills and your attributes can literally shine. This is why I don't get mad at people that go above and beyond inside the car, right? I don't get mad at people that do it because they love it, right? Because it brings them some sort of feeling, because that right there is a payment. I might not see it as a payment. You know, you might not see it as a payment, but to that person that's doing that, boom, it's their thing, it's their shtick, it's whatever you want to call it. And I think everybody should do that thing, whatever that is. Whatever, when you wake up in the morning and you're like, damn, this is going to be cool, whatever I'm doing, as long as you can continue waking up and thinking that, you should continue to do it to the fullest. And the moment you wake up and doing something and you think, fuck, man, like, I just don't want to do this anymore. Like, it becomes, it's tedious. Like, I don't wake up looking forward to it anymore. Or you should take action right then and there. And your first action is to create a fucking game plan to get the fuck out of what you're doing. Because if you're not loving it, for whatever reason, doesn't even matter. Sorry. I had to do that. But the moment you finally realize that whatever you're doing doesn't bring you happiness, you need to change. Because, riding inside of a car as a passenger with somebody who hates what they're doing, for whatever reason, could be valid, could be not valid, doesn't matter. It just creates a bad experience for everybody. So if you don't feel like you should have to get out of the car, if you're just pissed off that a passenger does this, or gets pissed off that a passenger does that, if you find yourself constantly getting pissed off, doing the thing that you're currently doing, doesn't matter what it is. This doesn't even necessarily pertain to rideshare. Whatever it is, you could be riding to death somewhere as a secretary or as an administrator or whatever, and fucking hate it. Fuck, man. Once you recognize that you hate something, take action. Like, create an action plan to get the fuck out of it. Whatever it is. Like, get back to doing things where you feel compelled to be a decent human being. Like, I think of like the real life situation. I've used it before, but walking into a store. I know that there's a certain percentage of people that will not even acknowledge my existence, nor the fact that I just took this action and held the door open for them. But I do it every single time without hesitation. Why? Because it's just the right thing to do. And I'm really content with life in general. So I look at everything on micro and macro levels. I can have micro failures and micro losses all day long, but as long as I'm having macro wins, it's all that really matters. So from a macro perspective, I think life is just going fantastic. Am I losing? Hell yeah, I'm losing on a daily basis. Every day I'm losing at something, but on a macro level, I'm winning. I just know it. Like, I have bigger wins. And I think that gives me the cover to go out and just genuinely do the right thing without it bothering me. Like at one point in time, it definitely bothered me to hold open doors for people that were unappreciative. Just was. It like used to get to me pretty bad. But now I'm just like, fuck them. Like they're so involved in whatever it is in their head that they couldn't even realize that they just had a macro win. Like their existence was acknowledged by another human being. If you don't see that as a win, I don't know what is, honestly. But this episode has gone on long enough. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hey, drop your comments down below in whatever comment section you're reading this on or listening to this on. I'd like to get your opinion on the question of whether you as an individual should or should not, if you're physically capable. I don't want to read 50 comments about how, you had a back injury or you're older and you're physically limited. This question is not for people that cannot do it physically. This is a question for those who could physically do it, but actually choose not to. Thank you so much for tuning in, and you guys have a great day.